Shay Gibbs.
I think I should go home after that, to be honest. It's only downhill from now.
Exactly.
Great introduction.
I heard you on the radio earlier talking about coming over the bridge, and to be fair, it's the same for me because I'm not here anymore. It's special, isn't it?
Well, it's been a while, yeah, since I've been up here. It's, as you know, I'm promoting my book and all that kind of stuff, but or it's his phone's going off the background. He had one job to turn his phone off, he couldn't do it. Sound like a right man. Whose phone's that? No, sorry, coming across the bridge, I come up on the train today. I live in Manchester and I would come across the Tyne and see the obviously Tyne Bridge and see the stadium in the heart of the city. It's such a special place and so many memories came flooding back. It was amazing. Yeah.
Does it feel like home? I mean, I know it's a bit daft because you've been away a while now,
Yes.
but it must bring back all sorts of memories, all sorts of emotions, you know, good and bad in many ways.
Good and bad, yeah. My brother and sister here in the front table as well.
There they are.
They're still up here. They've not moved away, so like me. But no, I mean, you've got my auntie, my cousins are actually in the front there from Fenham. They've been here. How long have you been here, Teresa?
150 years.
She's been in Fenham for 50 years. But no, you know, I've got such a huge affiliation with the North East and the people, and you know, I've been doing media actually all day, and you know, the more you sort of think back on the memories you've had and the people you've met and the friends you've had up here, so it's very special. I mean, just the people even signing the books and all, they make you feel so welcome and so special, and you know, that's a fantastic trait to have, and you know, I'm delighted to be here.
How difficult is Rude Boy? I mean, let's put it this way, I wouldn't have thought it would be a goalkeeper's dream, full stop. Never mind anybody else's dream.
Well, I mean, it's in the book, to be honest, and I personally don't like having a go at anybody, but the book one, I'm not really going to, but I will.
That's not me.
What's the woman of the fella Ted calls it? Mary, is it? Mary? Who pours the tea?
You're Irish.
Mrs. Doyle.
Mrs. Doyle.
She goes, you will. So I won't. Nah, I mean, the thing I had to be really told was, obviously it's...
And you weren't the only one,
it's in the, yeah, it's in the book. I mean, but, you know, I played all the games up to the FA Cup final and then played well, I felt as well at the Cup final. I didn't play in the final and you know, that was tough for me to take because I felt that nothing else I deserved me place, and I played my part, you know, in the semi-final and stuff as well at Old Trafford and you know, it's... So he's not paying. But the other thing, you know, I say, you don't want to give the book away because I won't be able to sell any copies of it. But
I'm sure you will.
In the book, he's got Terry Gennell, who's the goalkeeper coach at the time, to come and tell me. You know, and I think it was bad enough getting dropped for the final, but for him not to be man enough even to come and tell me face to face, you're not playing the final, I felt that was a real kick in the, you know what.
I mean, that's got to be a killer, isn't it? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Again, without wanting to give away what's in the book, but I mean, you're a footballer, you're a young man.
Yeah.
You've got the chance of playing at Wembley in an FA Cup final, and you played, you know, all the way through.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? What can you say? He made the decision, and you just got to take it on the chin. But it's not easy. Like there's no sort of brushing it up or sort of dressing it up, or the saying is to try and make it any better. It was a tough one because, you know, I was desperate to play in the final, of course, and you know all the rigmarole around that, the suits and the songs and the names of the North with the black and white jersey on it and stuff. You know, it's the whole town was buzzing, and then you know you're not playing, so it's a difficult one.
But you played obviously in the previous one.
Yeah.
So does that sort of make up for it, or
not really? It was even more desperate to play because we lost the previous one, so it was like, right, we got it this year, we got to put it right, and we got an opportunity, and then obviously I wasn't playing, so yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, what can you say? You know, it's a difficult position I was in, and his decision, you got to respect it, of course, but you know, I just was desperate to play.
So presumably, like everybody else, it broke your heart when he left.
There's a queue that has to bring him to the airport.
Exactly. Thank you, there's new journalists as well. I I mean, he just didn't fit, did he? He didn't get it. That was the thing with Ruud.
Yeah.
He just didn't get it. I mean,
I just think the whole, I think Ruud Gullit, I don't know, he's obviously a fantastic player, of course, and he come to Newcastle, and I don't think, as you say, he didn't get it, as in the sense, he didn't get the city, he didn't get the fans, he didn't get what the whole North East meant to the football club. And as I say, coming across the bridge today, it was like, there's the stadium, that's the heartbeat of the city, and I don't think he got it. I think it was about Ruud, and then these people are lucky to have me and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know if that's a Dutch thing or whatever, but I just
well, Koeman's just had it.
I just feel that such a big club, such a great club, and anybody who's lucky enough to manage this club then should be privileged. Yeah.
So he leaves, and then.
If you're going to go through all the managers mix, we won't be here in the morning.
No, we're going to paraphrase.
Can we get breakfast ordered?
We're going to paraphrase, but we cannot avoid who. You were after KK, you were whatever, but Bobby Robson. I'm surmising that the greatest years you had at this football club were under Bobby Robson.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, God rest him in peace and stuff. What a fantastic guy was. I just think, for what I said about Ruud Gullit, about the area and the club and the thing where you can just spin that right round and be the opposite of Bobby Robson. He's from the Durham's, from the North East. He got the club, he got the fans, and there's a funny story in the book. Actually, I might as well tell it. Fuck it. No need to read the book anymore. We're doing, I know we just signed loads of books there, which is great, and I appreciate everyone buying it, and I really mean that. But we're doing a signing session, I think, in the club shop. I'm downstairs, I'm trying to lose my bearings a bit, but the club shop, which is round the corner, and we're doing a signing session, and like you do them, I don't know, every month or something, and the fans all come, which the fanatical fans, as you all know, queued around the block, like, and the lads are racing up to get next to Bobby Robson because he's fucking writing B-O-B R-O-B-S-O-N. And then he looks at it, and he's just making sure he spelled it right. Bear in mind there's 4,000 queued around the block. And then it's like, okay, I think that's right, and he moves it on. But then some guy said to him one day, Bobby must sign thousands of these or something. And he was that distracted, he wrote Bobby Thousands. Instead of Bobby Robson, and it was just but I said in the book, I said, you don't want to sit next to Bobby Robson in a signing session because he like crosses the T's and dots the I's, and he's got neither of them in his name. That's true. Well, I mean, getting back to Bobby as a manager and a man manager, and what he brought to the football club, as I say, he just get the whole place a lift again, and everyone was excited to come back to the stadium, of course.
Did he get your name right?
He called me Shay Brennan once.
I was going to say, Shay Gibbon cannot be easy for Bobby Robson.
Shay Brennan, I used to play for
Shay Brennan. 1968 Manchester United European Cup running team.
He called Sholam Obi Calcourt. just some random names to throw in there. I don't know if he was doing it for the crack or if he was doing it genuinely didn't remember. Just had a great way about him, of course.
But it must have been like a breath of fresh air. I mean, obviously I was involved at that time, and it was just fantastic,
Well, I just think straight away the fans, were just up again. They were he gave, not just his first press conference or whatever. It's just because he got what it meant to the North East. I think he got all that, and I think the fans responded to that, of course, and rightly so. And he was, ex-Barcelona manager and ex-England manager, and he was the perfect fit at the time for this club, and managers, after whatever, in my opinion, weren't. But he was just, as I say, he got the club and what it meant to everyone.
But not only sort of like what it meant to the area, what it meant to players, to have somebody who could relate to you as a human being, as opposed to what Gullit must have been like, which was, to be unbelievable.
Well, I think that was one of his biggest.
His man management.
Biggest positives, the biggest thing that went for him, of course, was his man management. And as I spoke about in the book about, he'd say to Craig Bellamy, him and Shearer up front, would be like, Shearer don't mind, he said to Bellamy, he'd say, Bellamy don't mind him, he doesn't run anymore, you're doing all his running, but you're making him look great and all this. And then Bellamy, they would see Bellamy going, you're right, I'm doing his running and all this. And then he'd go over to Shearer and he'd go, don't mind that little shit. and just keep banging the goals in. And it was like, you could just see them, like, he just gets the best out of people, and he did, he got the best out of them too.
He did have more faces than the Town Hall Club.
Well, but that's all with man management and the skill that he had, and I don't know, just the love he had for them as a person as much as a manager, and he got that out of everybody.
And was that your happiest time as a player? Because I think from, well, I don't know, 2000 and maybe 2 through to 2000, you never missed a game. You broke the record in terms of appearances in Europe. And it was great, you know, Europe every season, challenging, 4th finishes, 5th finishes. It must have been great.
Yeah, 3rd I think is one point as well. Yeah, we were back to where I joined the club, in a sense. We were back challenging for the Premier League. We're back in Europe. We're back in the Champions League. You know, that's where this club belongs, and hopefully these new owners come in. When they do come in, then they'll be back in the club.
You ever got anyone at Man City just like with a spare few quid?
Oh yeah, unless me drop a text or something. But no, I mean, getting to that point, I'm being genuine with that, because I have, you know, as I say, a huge connection with the club. But I was at Man City. I was lucky enough to be part of that stuff, and you know, Khaldoon, Al Mubarak, and Sheikh Mansour, all them people, what they've brought to Manchester and Manchester City is phenomenal, and they've given the whole club, the whole city a lift. And I think that's just what the people in Newcastle sort of need. They need the right person to come in, and they don't need it like the people in Man City. They're there for the long haul. They need someone who really wants to bring this club back, challenging at the top.
I mean, there's a lot of nonsense spoken about the devil you know and the devil you don't, and you know, be careful what you wish for. But you've actually gone to a club where, you know, it would be easy to think a load of Arabs have taken over, and Man City are a good, you know, proper football club. Like, this is a proper football club, but they've done it properly there, haven't they? You know.
Yeah.
And it could be done here, couldn't it?
Well, I mean, they've had I know they got the stadium from the Commonwealth Games and all that, but they've developed it.
Yeah.
They've built this training ground in Manchester, the whole east of Manchester. It's been like a spaceships landing in East Manchester. It's phenomenal. And then, you know, they've got the New York City, not say Newcastle will go this out, but they've got Shanghai City, Melbourne City. They're making a global sort of brand of the football club, and there's no reason why Newcastle can't be that, because they have the stadium already. Yeah, maybe they can improve the training ground possibly or whatever, but they have the fans. I mean, you could probably fill the stadium twice over if they got the right investment and the right people to put the money in. So it's all set up, it's all in motion, like it's all there ready for the right people to buy the club.
Yeah. Go back to Newcastle then. Let's talk about one or two incidents. Dion Dublin.
Taxi?
How many people remind you that you must be the only Irishman who doesn't know where Dublin is?
That's my line.
Well, I bet it's in the book.
That's my joke. It's my only joke on for the night. No, I mean, I've got to explain it a bit better, because it was just previous to that. I think the previous month, the 6-second rule. I'm trying to make myself.
You're backtracking.
I'm trying to make myself a case for the goalkeeper here, but I've got no case really. I'm going to go for it, because sometimes you can get out of a hole if you talk long enough.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't shite for long enough.
The month before was the new 6-second rule came in, so you had two options as a goalkeeper. You had to launch it up the field, or you had to roll it out, and you had time then. But the clip that everyone shows is obviously me holding the ball in my hands and just rolling it out. It didn't show 10 seconds before that. It was a deep cross way to the back post. It was an amazing catch, I felt, at the time. I caught it.
It was very good, I remember that.
Better than very good, yeah. And Darren Peacock, after watching it back, and Dion Dublin challenged me there. I didn't even know it was that good a catch. I didn't even know anybody challenged me there. But Dion Dublin's momentum took him off the pitch, and I didn't even know he was there. So he sat on the advertising board behind the goal. And then the option was to kick it up the pitch, or to drop it down. And obviously, what did I do?
Drop it down and fall asleep though.
I didn't fall asleep. I was only 6 foot.
Have a bit of a daydream.
No, I was looking for some movement on the team, and nobody moved and gave me any options on it. I dilly-dallied and he scored a goal. So I mean, you look back and talk about the book, you can have a laugh about it now, and it's,
get that book.
As you say, the joke about the only Irishman at Dublin is, but I don't think Kenny Dalglish was overly cracking jokes after.
Tell me this about Coventry, and I think this should have been in your book, and I should have rung you before you wrote your book. Because I remember, and no one ever remembers this, I can't remember the result of the game, but it was at Coventry.
You just said I remember this.
I don't remember the score, I don't remember the score.
How do you confuse I remember this one day, but I don't
remember the game when Rob Lee stuck one in from about 40 yards.
Same game.
Was that the same game?
Yeah,
right? That was yours.
Rob keeps going. I got to get a hole that day, horse. I got to get a hole. That was the first time for everything, Rob.
But there was another game. There was another game where Coventry scored a goal down that bottom end, and it was an OG by Shearer. And nobody has ever remembered this. And I went to you afterwards and I went, tell me, because I was telling everyone in the press box that Shearer got the last touch and it went in, it was a Shearer own goal. You told me it was a Shearer own goal. So you can't remember that now, can you?
It was because he was losing a bit of hair.
Yeah. Can you not remember that?
Don't know.
No.
Too many goals I've been seeing.
Yeah.
I can't remember them all.
Yeah. And then the other one, the West Ham one. How scary was that? I don't know if you remember, but Marlon Harewood, who ultimately went on to play for Newcastle, slides in. This guy comes out trying to smother a ball, and it's described by a surgeon as the equivalent of a car crash. And I remember I was downstairs in the tunnel, and all I could hear was you screaming in a room. And I remember telling you afterwards, you said you couldn't remember.
And you see them rolling around now making the nothing wrong with them?
Yeah, exactly. They break a nail and they're screaming.
No, that's a bit of hair.
Never mind rupture a bowel.
No. Yeah, I mean, it was scary. I laugh about it now because I'm fucking sitting here, if I'm being honest, but...
But when I heard you screaming, I didn't think you would.
No, it was quite scary because it was only 3 minutes to go. I think we're 2-0 up just to try and paint the picture that people don't remember it. But I come sliding out, Martin Harewood come sliding in, and I think it was 60-40 in my advantage, and they were 2-0 down, and their fans were going on their cases and stuff, and I think, to be fair to Martin and to sort of give him some sort of credit, I didn't feel that he'd done me. In fact, it was the opposite. I think he's gone with these studs, and then last second he knew he wasn't getting out of the ball, and he's pulled his legs away, but his momentum of both his knees have just slid into my rib cage, and then obviously done the damage, hit me. But at that point, I don't think the damage was done there, but I got really badly winded. I couldn't breathe, and I was taken off the last couple of minutes because I just couldn't basically stand up. But got into the changing room and said to the doctor at the time, it says, you know, it's kind of like still struggling. What will I do? He was like, just go in the shower, you know, fine. You seem to be just taking a bad knock. You'll be fine. And then I got in the shower, got back out, and it was like standing, you know, drying whatever. And I was just like, this is not good. This is not good. And it was like, he goes, get on the bed, and literally last thing I remember is just like collapsing onto the bed and literally passed out. And you know, the lads told me after, because obviously I can't remember, but Scotty Parker was sprinting out the door shouting for an ambulance. And it was quite scary because the ambulance had already left West Ham, and it took 40 minutes to come back because of the traffic and all this. And so it was quite serious, like, so stop laughing, No, but all joking aside, we were supposed to be fair, the team flew back that night to Newcastle, and I was due to get on the flight, and people said, no, had I got on that flight then I might not have, and that's the genuine, they might not have been here today or whatever, because it was basically the equivalent when your bottle punctures, it's like someone pouring acid into your stomach, and it was like a knife in the front.
I'm going to have to just stop you there, because you did this at the time, I remember. Boil is bowel. It's not boil. It wasn't a boil.
Had a few of them in my time as well.
It was a
squeeze a few of them.
It was a bowel.
Boil, yeah.
So
boil.
You boil.
Boil.
Yeah. Bowel.
Boil.
Whatever.
It's the accent.
Exactly.
Anyway, but I was looking
at on. There you are. There's a medic in the room.
There is in the front row in case I collapse off this. But no, it was very scary because I mean, I had the guy Snoops, who was a specialist. In fact, it was lucky. It was a Saturday night, as you can imagine, and he came in. I think he might have been at the game or whatever, and he came in and he come and he said to me, stick loads of morphine in to try and kill the pain, but we're going to stick a camera into your belly button and have a look and see what the damage is, and if it's bad, we're going to have to go in there, obviously. And I woke up the next morning in a hospital in London, like with tubes coming out of everywhere, and it's quite scary because you leave a football pitch and then the next thing you're waking up and it's, you know, it's as you say, it's equivalent of being in a car crash, and that's what the specialist says. He says, like, you're very lucky, we've never seen this from sport before, so yeah, it was a difficult one, but thankfully I managed to go back and play a few months later. Given that